I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and Anil Kumar classes. Here is an example which can help GCSE students to understand how we can make a difference in their preparation for the excellence. You can join Anil Kumar classes which are for GCSE 11, GCSE 12 and GCSE 13. Foundations will be built and then we'll take you from GCSE to A level and A plus level. We'll also prepare you for the UK senior math competition. Now, in this series, which is for GCSE 11, I'm taking classes regularly. So we have every Monday and Wednesday, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. UK time, we'll conduct classes online. If you want to join these classes, you can send an email to me on the address given here. We are beginning with the concept of circle and circle theorem this month. You can always join these classes, right? To give you an example how we are going to approach, let's have a look at some of the material I want to share with you, which has been extensively developed, taking care of what the curriculum requires and how should we prepare for tests which are based on a lot of knowledge where many things are connected, and in one test a part of it calculator is not allowed and in the other part the calculator is allowed. How do we work without calculator and get the result in the minimum time is also very important to understand. So we'll basically begin by giving you tips on working without a calculator. So we'll begin by sharing with you some examples on how do we work without calculator and get the results very fast. These are not tricks, these are simple methods of doing it, right? So we'll understand those, and then from there, we'll see how the complexity can be simplified in solving the most difficult questions in the test. So, in circles, for example, we'll talk about the basics. What is a circle? And what really is pi? So, you see, so many times we see pi in the formula. It could be circumference, which is 2 pi r, or pi d. It could be area, pi r square. This pi is irrational number. How do we calculate it? And how do we use pi in our calculations so that without calculator we could easily multiply by a number which is 3.14, right? Approximately. We'll take many examples where the combinations with circles and other polygons will be also used. That is a major question in most of the GCSE test papers, right? Like, what is a circle? We need to look into it from all aspects and then get to know it so that we could really solve questions based on circles. As you know, circle is defined with the center O and the radius r. It is a set of points which are same distance away from the center. Now, set of points is defined like this. It is also called locus, right? Now, there have different elements in it. What is a chord? The longest chord is the diameter. Then we have a segment, sector, major sector, minor sector. Once we understand that, and also we know the basic formula, which is the circumference formula, the area formula, which is pi r squared, we can find the arc length by a simple ratio of the angle given to 360 by using the formula for circumference, right? Sector area is also area which is ratio of the angle to the area of the circle, right? Now pi, what is pi? As you know, pi is defined by circumference over diameter. Well, do you really know that? Yes, we know. we know that the circumference C is equal to pi times the diameter D, right? And therefore, I could rearrange this and I can write C divided by the diameter is equal to pi. That is what pi is. So that means every circle or any circle, if we divide the circumference by its diameter, then we get the value of pi. Remember, pi is irrational number even till date. We don't know exactly what is the value of pi. We'll approximate it to 3.14. Now, in every formula, we are using pi. For example, the circumference is 2 pi r, right? Or pi d, anyway. The area is pi r square. That means we should know how should we multiply with pi and get the calculations without calculator, right? This is important. I'm thinking, how do we do without calculator? Multiplying by 3.14 is not easy. And therefore, what do? We approximate that as a fraction. Pi could be written as a rational number. I should not say rational number. Pi approaches this value, or approximately it is equal to 22 over 7. So we'll use pi as a number which is 22 over 7. Once we use 22 over 7 as a value of pi, we can answer many questions without calculator very easily. And in the test paper, most of the time, you will see that the radius is a multiple of 7. You get the idea, right? Imagine if we have radius which is k times 7, or I should write 7k, right? Multiple of 7, then in that case 7 will cancel out and you have to only multiply by 22. 22 is 2 times 11, right? 2 times 11 over 7. See how easy it becomes? Multiplication by 2 is just double the number, and 11 is what? You just shift and add. You get the idea. That is how you do calculate very easily using pi. And now you understand all the questions based on circle where calculations are required will involve pi, and now you know how to deal with it. This is an extensive and very good technique which you can always apply and get the result. Perfect? Okay, here's one more example. Try to do this using mental math, not calculator. Perfect? And what will you use pi as? You will use pi as 22 by 7. That will give you the answer which is correct to three significant figures, right? This will be correct to three significant figures. That is very important since most of the time that is the accuracy required while providing solutions. Even with calculator, we can do this without calculator also. You get the idea, right? That's just the beginning. This part of mathematics is normally skipped and never looked into while teaching students these days. I don't know why, but we are going to cover all this and make you understand how easy it is to work with fractions, especially the value of pi, which is 22 by 7. Do you understand? I think that makes sense, correct? Here is another question for you. Now, this question involves reverse calculation and also thinking. It says, can circumference of a circle be greater than the area? Well, the formulae are given to you, right? In this particular case, you should also work the inequality and then see how can we prove it. Basically, we want to show that 2 pi r, which is the circumference, is greater than pi r square, right? So, not very difficult. We can cancel pi and we can cancel r, and what do we get? 2 is greater than r. Or we can say, well, we got the condition that r should be, it is always greater than 0, right? It is non-negative and less than 2. Gives us the condition that circumference will be greater than the area. It is good to visualize that any circle whose radius is less than 2 units will have more circumference than the area contained within it. Does it make sense to you? Well, that is how we should be looking at the circle to begin with, right? And then we just move forward and do some standard questions. So this is like knowledge based, right? So once you have enough knowledge, you can easily understand how do we solve this question. But it is not only that. When I take up values, which are like decimal values, in that case, multiplication by decimal makes huge difference. You know, what is 0.1 whole square equals to? Well, that is also confusing at times. Now here we have the second question, which is we are given the circumference as pi. What is going to be the area? Very important question. And if I give you area as pi, in that case, what is going to be the circumference? Now these reverse calculations help you think and then get to the result. And that is the idea. Critical thinking. So the idea here is to involve critical thinking. We'll begin by using this concept of critical thinking with simple examples. Once you get used to it, then it can be easily applied without thinking to even difficult questions, right? Now, in this particular case, the question does not give you any values to calculate, but helps you to understand how do we relate relations and expressions. You get the idea. This is another dimension of our learning. And what we do really is we define our curriculum in a way that you have overall knowledge of the subject. We don't look at a question from just mathematics point of view of calculations. We look at it from different angles, and that gives you a complete view of the subject. I hope you are liking it. Well, in case you like all this, then you can always send an email on my address given here. Since we are talking about a very special program which is being developed for the GCSE students, it doesn't matter whether you're just beginning or you are going to appear for GCSE advanced levels. We have all covered. Similarly, we have more questions related to expressions. Well, this is just to give you an idea. We have these multiple choice questions in the test. You don't see multiple choice questions, correct? So in the test, you have short answer questions where one leads to the solution of the other. So kind of you are guided towards the solution. We'll do that also as an exercise. But this is kind of a quick view of what is there for you. Perfect. Now there are many questions like this. As you can have a look at these questions, try to solve these questions. They are all kind of connected with one another, and this connection helps us to understand the subject better, right? I hope you agree with me on this. Perfect. So we'll have very simple examples to begin with, as you are seeing here, and then we'll take on two very challenging questions. Now, this particular example, let's look at it. Question number 9 is diameter of the three circles is in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 3. Find the ratio of their area. Right? Find the ratio of their area. We are given that the diameters are in the ratio of 1 is to 3, 1 is to 2 is to 3, and now we need to find the ratio of their area. What is the right choice? I'd like you to try it out. You can do it with calculator also. I will show you the technique of answering this question. So simple. And you'll get the right answer without calculator in less than a minute, few seconds. That makes a huge difference. Correct? Now, why am I sharing with you multiple choice questions? The idea is becomes easier for me to see where you can go wrong, how are you doing the calculation, why are you arriving at the wrong result or a different result. It helps me to guide you better, and then we can take out the examination style questions to understand this subject. Perfect. Here is the next question. Now, square within a circle. That's a common thing in most of the questions. How do we work with this? What is the diagonal and how is it related with the sides of the square? Once you get that, you can solve this question in less than a minute, right? Similarly, we'll have more questions which are kind of similar. Here you have an example where we are taking the distance from the center of the circle to the chord. And we can extend this question to sector, area, and other things, right? We'll also see how do we do calculations of big numbers without calculator, right? So this question also will be done without calculator. The idea of this question is to review or revisit the earlier chapters we talked about, right? Rational numbers, simplification of those numbers, how do we multiply and divide with fractions or use decimal numbers? Do calculations without calculator. You get the idea. So that will be another part. And then we'll extend to examination style questions, learn all the concepts, get into the concepts in from different angles and understand it better. That's the whole idea. I hope you understand what we're trying to do here. If you want to join and learn in this fashion, you can always join Anil Kumar classes. Every day we are having these classes for GCSE 11. The classes are on Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. UK time. Write an email to me, and then we can register you for this program. Thanks for your time and all the best.